This is the Couples Corner. The Couples Corner. This is the Couples Corner. With Team Evans. This is the Couples Corner. The Couples Corner.
The Couples Corner with Team Bevins of I Still Do Ministries every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is another episode, and today you will get some good information, some great nuggets, and some tools to strengthen your relationship. The Couples Corner with Team Bevins.
This is the Couples Corner. The Couples Corner. This is the Couples.
How y'all feeling tonight? Welcome to the Couples Corner. I'm Marcus, and this is my wonderful wife,
Cherie.
And tonight we are excited to be in the Couples Corner. You know, we got a good old topic that we're going to jump into tonight, and I think that you all will benefit well from it. So we're going to get right into this topic, and we're going to make sure that everything that we can do will be done in its best possible state. So tonight I'm going to pray, and as soon as I'm done praying, we're going to get into our topic tonight, which is check your emotions. Father, we thank you for another opportunity to gather together in the Couples Corner. We thank you, Father, for every person, oh God, that you've allowed to be a part of what we're doing here tonight. We pray, Lord, that you would allow us, oh God, to be able to share with the people in the Couples Corner, oh God, information that will help us to grow, to be better, to be stronger, to be wiser, for our relationships to grow, to have stability. And we thank you, Father, that you will give us the insight, the wisdom that we need, so that what we share will be able to be applied and be used, that every relationship would have some longevity and to the proper tools to make the relationship successful. We look forward to what you're going to do with us and for us and even through us tonight, Lord. And we give you glory, we give you honor, we give you praise. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, so the topic tonight is check your emotions. Now, this came from a quote that I saw, and we were talking about it, and it's also in the book, you know, that we have, the 64 Tools for a Successful Relationship. And so the quote was, if you can check your emotions for your boss and a paycheck, you can check your emotions for your spouse and your marriage. And so, because oftentimes many people have stated that, you know, their relationship and their job are two completely different things, and they don't treat them the same. They don't approach them the same. They wouldn't categorize them the same. They wouldn't do any of that, simply because that's not something that they would want to do. And what's important about that is, now, of course, this is up for discussion. You know, this is in law. This is up for discussion. I want your input. I want to hear what you have to say and what you think about it as well. So, can you control your emotions, and should you control your emotions, and how do you control your emotions in comparison to what you do at work, you know, in those environments versus what you do at home? Because some people feel like, well, I don't have to use no filters. I don't have to do anything special. I don't have to hold no punches. I don't have to do no cut cards because this is my spouse. But you do that at work. You know, you control your emotions at work, but you let your spouse have it. So the question, you know, tonight is that right? Is that right? If you can check your emotions for your boss and for a paycheck, can you check your emotions for your spouse and your marriage? That's a real question. You know, and that's something that only you can really answer, you and your spouse can really answer, because how do you address them? How do you handle them? Do you handle them like they're somebody that you don't know? You know what I mean? Or do you handle them as a person that can benefit from you in you being in their life. So that's important. You know what I mean? We can't like treat our mates like we just met them and they just somebody random off the street, but we'll give a stranger all of this respect, all of this honor. We'll give a stranger all of our courteousness. You know, they can get all our pleasantry, you know, all our yes sir and yes ma'am and sure and no problem. And you know, the stranger can get your Chick-fil-A personality, your customer service, but you know, but your spouse go get the hood sub shops. You know what I mean? So like, is that all right? Is that all right? That's the question. You know what I mean? And that's something that we really have to dive into and really look at. So, you know, when we really look at emotions, first of all, emotion is a response or reaction to something that has happened. It's the way that you respond or you react to something that is, you know, that has happened. It's a feeling that you have or that you get. And so that's cool. But I guess my first question out of all of this would be, can you trust your emotions?
No.
Can you trust your emotions? Because, you know, sometimes what we think or what we feel in a moment is not the truth. That's just what we feel in that moment. You know, I don't know how many of you would be honest enough to say that there have been some times that you've been upset about something that somebody did or something that they said, because in that moment, it was horrible for them to feel that way or to do that or to say that or to think that. But then after you calm down for a moment and you kind of looked at things from a different perspective, you realize they were right and you were wrong. And in some cases, you wowed them out. You did go off, you know, you did lean on them, you did whatever the case. But in some cases, you didn't. You just held it, you know what I mean? And then later we're probably like, man, I'm glad I didn't respond the way I thought because they were right or I was wrong or what have you. So, you know, that's major. But we really have to consider, can we trust our emotions? Can we really trust them? Because, you know, your emotions will have you jacked up. Your emotions will have you thinking something that's not. It'll have you not trusting something that you should. You know, your emotions can have you all over the place because your emotions are fickle and they change in various moments and in various environments, you know. So that's something that we have to really look at. So tonight, that's what we're going to dive into. We're going to deal with these emotions and we're going to deal with how we handle our mates with our emotions. You know, listen, if you're in a relationship with someone else and not just yourself, you are not going to always agree.
Never.
If you're in a relationship with someone else and not just yourself, you are not always going to see eye to eye. If you're in a relationship with someone else and not just yourself, and I'm saying that because people have more than one personality, and you can be in a relationship by yourself with the multiple personalities that you have. That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But when you're in a relationship with someone else, you are not always going to see eye to eye. You're not always going to agree. You're not going to always like everything that they say or everything that they do. But should your emotions control your relationship? Should your emotions control your response? Should your emotions control your respect? Should your emotions control your honor? So, you know, that's the question that's on the table tonight. And we want to hear from you guys. So for those of you who are tuned in on Mixstation Live, the number to call in is 1-855-493-6499. And for those of you who are tuned in with us on social media, you can see that on your screen. So call us and let us know. And for those of you who are going to respond on social media, feel free to do that as well. Now we got a yes they do, but what is that yes they do to? Give us some clarity on that yes they do, so that we can understand, because I don't want to misunderstand your yes they do. You talking about something else. But you know, dear, I'm going to refer to you with this emotions, and can you trust your emotions, or should we trust our emotions in our relationships when we are in emotional states?
No.
That was profound.
No,
That was
we
profound.
shouldn't. We should take our emotions out of it and deal with it. Yeah, and if anybody ever talks to me, they know that's what I always say. Take your emotions out of it. It's not always easy to do. Can I always do it? No, but that's what you should do. You should take your emotions out and you should deal with it. You know, I have a hard time understanding how we can respect and we can control ourselves in different places, but we're uncontrollable at home with the people that we love. We're
good.
so uncontrollable. How did you get uncontrollable there? But when you're at work, when you're out, now some of us, no, you're not controllable anywhere. But majority of us that like our jobs or like what we do for a living, our businesses or whatever, we control ourselves. We conduct ourselves a different way when we're in a business meeting or when we're somewhere than when we are home talking about, I just saw red and I went for it, or I just blacked out, or he said this, a trigger word, and I just lost it, or she said that and I lost it. But you know, how do we control, and please call in and let me know, how do we control or have so much respect for people outside of our family, outside of our spouse, and we don't have that same respect for our spouse? Is it because we think there will be no consequences for the things that we say, for the things that we do? Now at work, you know, there's a chance that you pop off in there and you done popped off for your last time. As long as you talking, you have a job, and when you stop talking, you're fired. So, but why do we think that, you know, do you think there's no consequences? And then when your spouse gives you consequences for the emotional, immature character that you show, then you go into a whole nother rant about why they shouldn't treat you this way. They know this is you and they know this, that, and the other. So somebody has to help us help somebody tonight to control their emotions and to understand or to see yourself. Sometimes you can't see yourself. I hope I can make you look at yourself. Hope, you know, we Team Bevins can make you look at yourself tonight and say, yeah, that's true. When I'm at work and he said or she said something similar, it's, you know, or, you know, I know you can say, oh, well, people at work can't push my buttons like people that's close to me can. My spouse can. Okay, that's fine. But how do we convey that in proper communication without getting all out of whack with our emotions? Because all we do is create something more, something worse when we are, you know, becoming combative, or when we're very confrontational. But I'm confrontational. But when we're very confrontational, and you know, all we do is create another issue. So how do you show the respect for your spouse that you show out in, you know? And I believe that some of this is learned, or some of this is you have to really think about it. Some of us have to really think, because we've been getting away with this for so long that it's hard to change. Right. It's hard to change. So please call in and let us know, you know, leave your comments on Facebook and let us know, because you're going to help someone. Because I need to know, how is it that we can respect people out in the world, but in our homes, you know, we can't respect each other. We have emotional breakdowns or emotional issues, or we go with days and days on end without speaking to each other. How does that happen?
Now, you mentioned something that I kind of want to kind of jump in on. You said something about you know, people pushing buttons, and I guess my question would be, why are our buttons always on display? You know what I'm saying? Why? How does one get access to all of your buttons when, you know, for lack of a better term, they don't matter? You understand what I'm saying? How can I allow you, someone who doesn't have value to my personal space, to get that close to the point that I'm making adjustments to my entire life and my responses, and basically risking it all for something that is not that important? You understand what I'm saying? Like, you know, they say that things can't hurt you unless it's close. So, there are some things that I believe should not get a level of attention from us, because the person, and please don't misunderstand what I'm saying, but hear what I'm saying. The person doesn't matter that much to get that much of that much attention. So, for someone that you don't know to say something to you, how does it have so much weight and value that it pushes buttons that cause you to act out of the character that you decided you wanted to function in? Because people say, it got me acting out of character, but if you're doing it, it's your character. That's a reality. But you decided what character.
That's who you are.
You decided what character you wanted to be consistently, and that's cool. But in the process of being that character and functioning in that personality regularly like that, how do you allow someone that is not in a position close enough to you to push your buttons to the point where you're risking it all? You're risking your livelihood, you're risking your freedom, because sometimes you won't put your hands on people and that can result in you doing some time. You got a lot of options that come out of you allowing your buttons to be pushed, but why are they so readily available for everybody to have access to? That's never really made a great deal of sense to me, because I just think that everybody should not have access to your heart. So something should not hurt as much because it should not have reached your heart. I know some of y'all might disagree with that, but there's some things that it ain't making it to my heart because of who's presenting it to me. Don't mean that it ain't right, or don't mean that it may not be true, but because of how I protect and guard my heart, everybody does not have access to my heart. So everybody can't say things that's going to hurt my heart. So I don't know, but that's something that is that's pretty, serious. And so when you mentioned that about the buttons being pushed and allowing people to take you places that you don't want to go, I think that we have to take some ownership in that, because if we take some ownership in that and we realize that that's a level of lack of self-control. So, when we see that or we recognize that, then I think that puts things in a different, perspective. But we got to take some ownership in that. I'm lacking some self-control if everybody that says something, I'm ready to respond, I'm ready to fight, I'm ready to wild out, and that's a lack of self-control to a degree. And I need to look at that, and I can't keep pointing the finger at everybody else. You know what I mean? But at the same token, that same level of self-control should be in our relationships. I shouldn't be wanting to lash out at you the way that I would some random. It should be a level of respect. It should be a level of meaning of what we have in our relationship that should stop me from wanting to say or do certain things. It don't necessarily mean that you may not want to, but it should stop you from doing it just out of respect. Because growing up, we ain't like everything our mother and our father said, but out of respect, you ain't say nothing back. Because you wanted somewhere to live and you wanted to be able to move your mouth and it not be all popped up. So, out of respect, there were some things that we did not say or do. I don't know where the respect level got lost to where we can just lose it on anybody. We can, just say anything to anybody. We could just do anything to anybody. Like, that's the level of respect that we have for ourselves first has diminished, as well as to those that we come in contact with. And, that's something that theoretically happens from an emotional place. And we have to accept the fact that it's dealing with our emotions. It really is. And we have to see that those things, are real and they happen. So, let's look at the book for a second and grab something from there.
Okay, if you have the book, 64 Tools for a Successful Relationship, we're on page 38. And it's talking about control your emotions. So, I'm going to read just a little bit. All emotions aren't truth. If you don't have control of your emotions and yourself, you can find your mind wandering to so many other places. When you are in your emotions, you have the potential to make a sentence into a movie.
Oh man, that's serious there. Because if you can make a sentence into a movie, you know, that's, I don't want to say exaggeration, but that's your creativity. That's your mind elaborating on something that was small and making it bigger, or giving it that much attention, or that much time, that much of yourself and of your substance to get to a point or place where we are now, you know, like kind of responding in that manner, and that's not healthy. That's not healthy at all. Now I know, you know, everybody may not want to expose, I guess, in a sense, themselves to the point of saying, you know, that there have been some creative times, and I know in my life there have been some creative times where something small in my mind, I've allowed it to, you know, to grow and to become something more, or something, you know, different or greater. But like, yeah, that's serious. And if we don't monitor that, then we will allow what we have seen and make it a full movie. Just like I said, we'll take something that was small and let it expand to become a full-blown feature film, you know, because our mind has the ability to do that without us actually, you know, keeping in control or keeping in context who we're dealing with and what we're dealing with. So that's, you know, that's important. Very important.
So call in 1-855-493-6499 and talk to us about how do you deal with emotions with your spouse. Maybe you have a spouse that's like me and very calm and soft-spoken and
okay.
Such a blessing. And they know how to, you know, express their emotions. Or maybe you have a spouse that is just, you know, 0 to 100 or 0 to 1,000 or whatever. But, or maybe you were that person and you changed. You learn how to better deal with your emotions, or just take your emotions out of it altogether. You know, sometimes you have to wait some hours, or you have to wait a day or some time before you deal with something, or you have to tell you know, I got a text the other day, and I was just like, I was talking to somebody when I got the text, and I said, y'all know I'm always gonna give y'all a real life story, and I said, and I said, I looked at the text. And I said, oh, yeah, you know, like I'm ready to respond. I'm going off just ready to respond. But I had to take my little emotions out of it, sit my phone down, and I will reply in a second. And that conversation turned out so much better, because if I would have responded off of what my emotions felt and what I was about to say right away, it would have been bad. Right. And I have a couple people out there who be very proud of me because they know I don't do that. I just type, you know. I feel like you typed it to me, so let me type it back to you. But, you know, I learned that, you know, sometimes you can come off a little harsh and you might not mean to, you know, but because you're emotional and you're, you know, compassionate, then you may need to just take a few minutes and then communicate about the situation. So if you can help somebody, or if you have a question, or if you can help us, because like I always say, Team Bevins is still a work in progress. You can call in 1-855-493-6499, or you can type your question or comment if you're on Facebook Live. But we do want to know, we do want to hear from you, because this is a dialogue tonight. Well, it's always a dialogue. and we do want to hear your concerns or your issues or your help, because this is a very prominent issue in a lot of relationships that, you know, one person cannot just control how they talk or their actions, and it turns out bad.
Right.
It turns out bad if you don't get a hold on it. You go through years and years and years and years of this, and maybe we can help you. Like I said earlier, we can help you to see you. Maybe we can help you to understand that this is immaturity in a relationship sometimes, when you cannot relax your emotions and deal with issues, or when you give somebody else more respect,
Right.
and then you come home and you're just totally different.
Yeah.
You just totally are just like, whatever, deal with it. Now, granted, you know, you are who you are when you are at home. True, but that doesn't mean there's not room for change. Every day, every year, we should be striving to get better. So we are who we are. And yes, he knew what he was getting. She knew what she was getting, right. But does that ever change?
Good.
Does that ever change? Do you ever learn that this, okay, you were getting this in the first year of your marriage, but in the 10th year, we still doing this?
Right.
You know? So, you know, to my people, my favorite people, who are my favorite people? My favorite people are the engaged people. To my favorite engaged people, right now is the time to say, listen, I'm not doing it. We're not saying I do if we cannot take the emotions out of it, or if the emotions of the other person are bothering you right now, or if you're tired of getting slapped with words, slapped physically, whatever it is, then you need to deal with it now. You do not have to say I do and then deal with it.
Right.
Deal with it now. So if their emotions are not right, if they or their I should say actions, because they're emotional, are not right, or what they say out their mouth because they're emotional is not right, or you don't feel that it's respectful to you or a level of maturity that you want to be in, you don't have to say I do until you get it straight. And that's why y'all are my favorite people, because we bringing up these conversations where you have time to fix it while you're not in it. And for those of us that are married and that we're in it, we can fix it. We can fix it, but we have to be willing to fix it. You have to be willing, if it's you, to say, hey, it's me. Hey, it's me. Y'all know I am not going to ever tell you that my confrontational ways will always die. No, because I need them. But the certain way how I used to be is not me anymore. What I used to do and just say and could care less how you feel, whether you're Marcus or whoever you are, it's not me anymore. But I had to grow to that. So we here to help somebody grow tonight. And if anybody, you know, has a success story of where they came from, you know, please share it with us, because I want people to know that we can do it. You know, we can make it. And people are always saying to me, like, Marcus is so calm. He always calm. That's how he is all the time, for the most part. If he's upset, he's still kind of like that. Like, he's always calm and relaxed. But that does not mean that he did not have a wife who was in his face, because I don't care about the calm and relax when my emotions were high. But I had to learn, you respect a man. You don't make a man feel less than what he is, regardless of what he's doing, especially if you married him, because you already married him. So don't go around talking about, well, what he isn't and what he's whatever. Right. You respect him, and you put yourself in check sometimes. And you talk to a man with respect. You do. You just can't just say whatever. And so certain things I had to learn. Not that I'm all bad. Not that he's all good. But I'm glad he said that. So what, you know, because some people really think that. They think like, oh, how did he marry her? Oh, she is horrible. Yeah, really. Reality.
That's
why?
reality.
Yes. That's not even I'm joking about it, but I mean, I'm saying it in a laughter, but that's real. Yeah. Like, why? How did he marry her? She is rough around the edges. But he is rough too. So, you know, it's just, you got to learn and you have to grow. And so with these emotions, you know, in the book, if you have the book, it's page 38, Control Your Emotions. And there's a lot of nuggets in there. And it says one thing. It says your mind can't be trusted when you are emotional, and that's true. And that's why they say when you're emotional, don't make decisions. Don't make decisions. So if you're emotional and you're getting a divorce or you're breaking up your engagement every time you're emotional, something's wrong. You have to stop and think. Stop making these quick decisions. If you get emotional on your job and you just decide you leave, you're gonna be broke.
Yeah.
You're gonna be broke because if you don't have another job, there's no guarantee that you're getting one.
Exactly.
There's no guarantee you're getting one in that next week or before that next paycheck or that next bill is due. So we gotta slow down a little bit. Think about what's going on. I think we lack time to think and time to respond. We think that we have to do everything in a microwave setting. If it's not done now, and this is also from my experience, if it's not done now, then it can't be done right if we wait 2 days.
Right.
But if 2 days is going to bring you a better result than you doing what you're doing now, then I think you should wait 2 days.
Right.
So please call in 1-855-493-6499 and share with us. If you have a question, we'll do our best to answer it. And if we can't answer it,
we're gonna let you know.
We'll let you know.
We ain't about to sit here.
But come dialogue with us. And if you're on Facebook, please type. We will read your comment, and you will help somebody. Trust me that weeks and weeks and weeks go by, and we help people. Y'all are helping people. When y'all are calling in, people are being blessed and they're being helped. So please don't hesitate to share your story, if it's okay with your spouse.
Right. Yeah.
Don't hesitate to share your story. Don't, because I don't want you calling me afterwards. I'm on Team Babs. Now she mad. Now he mad. You told me to call and share my story.
Said what I said.
So, but please share with us because we all need to grow. Even at this state where Marcus and I have been married for 20 years, and there's still things we need to grow in.
Definitely.
It's just not like easy, because it's easy to go back to what's familiar.
Exactly.
But somebody can call in and tell me, how do you maintain that newness? How do you maintain that I am not going to be emotional and be disrespectful out here to my wife and treat her any kind of way, how I used to treat her? How do you maintain that? How do you maintain treating her differently and not being as emotional and just understanding a little bit more what's going on and taking a little bit more time to talk about issues and get through it so that your emotions don't run you away from each other? Right.
And it's it's important. And again, we'll let's backtrack a little bit for the people who kind of joined us a little late. We're dealing with emotions, and so I'm gonna read the definition of emotions, then I'm gonna give you where this stemmed from, outside of the book, The 64 Tools for a Successful Relationship. So emotions, a natural instinctive state of mind deriving from one's circumstances, mood, or relationships with others, right? And this is a response. Your emotion is a part of your response to what you have experienced. And you have to know how to control that, how to make sure that you're not allowing your emotions to control you. Now, emotions are a natural part of life. It's a natural part of our human nature, but we can't allow our emotions to control us. So there was a quote that I saw. It said, if you can check your emotions for your boss and the paycheck, you can check your emotions for your spouse and your marriage. And so that kind of sparked some conversation in regard to how is it so easy to respect bosses and family members and pastors and officials, leaders and city officials, or well, maybe not right now, some city officials, but you have all of this respect for so many people, but your mate, you disrespect them with your responses. You disrespect them with your silence. You disrespect them, with your distance. But you don't do that, or you wouldn't do that to other people. And so if you have the ability to control that in your workplace, to control that in your family, to control that in your church, in your community, then why is that so difficult to do in your house? And that's something that we really have to look at, because, you know, if we be honest, most of us would have to say that we've been guilty of that. You know, I say all the time, you know, especially like with people that are in ministry, you can have so much patience for somebody that you're not connected to, somebody that needed to talk because they had something going on. You'll sit down after church for an hour and sit and talk to them and hear them tell their story and be compassionate and share all of this stuff and give them all of this advice and do all of these things. And you'll call them the next day or 2 days later to follow up with them and to do all of that. But someone that you know that has an issue and say something to you, you treat them like you know better. We shouldn't even be talking about this because you know better than to act this way or to think this way, but you don't offer to them the same type of care, the same type of compassion that you did to everyone else. You know, it's been many times that I've watched people have conversations. People do it with their children all the time. You can be having a conversation and a little child, you're having a conversation with another adult. A little child will run up to you, hug your leg, you'll hug them back and say, hey, how was your day? How was school? You been good this week? Blah, 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 blah. Another child come, you get him high five. Tell your mother I said blah, 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 blah. Your child come and give you a hug and they get punished. Go sit down over there. You see I'm talking.
Sure.
And that's not fair. You see what I'm saying? But we'll give this compassion, we'll give this love, we'll give this catering and this care to strangers or to other people, but to those that are closest to us, we don't have that for them. And so we will check our emotions everywhere but home, because in our mind, and we think we're right, we tell ourselves, they know me. They know what I mean. They know my intentions. They know, so I shouldn't have to explain. But that does not give you a pass to disrespect. It doesn't give you a pass to disrespect just because he's your husband or just because she's your wife. Sure, they know that you think certain ways or different things, or sure, you've been together so long, but we have to get to a place where we stop taking so much for granted. Because we will take 90% for granted and only share and explain 10%. Where with everybody else, we take 10% for granted and share and explain the other 90%. And then we're trying to figure out why we're not getting these types of responses that we desire at home. Because I've heard many of people say, if only my husband would listen to me like everybody else listened to me. If only my wife would listen to me like everybody else listened to me. My information is golden to everybody but my husband. My information is golden to everybody but my wife. But you don't talk to your husband or your wife the way you talk to everybody else. Mm-hmm. You talk to them with patience, with joy. You excited when they call. Your mate call and you like, what you need? You rushing them off the phone like they bothering you. So we have to be able to take some ownership in this, because we got to get back to that place of accepting some ownership. We can't say that we have the ability to check our emotions at work. We'll conduct ourselves well. Our boss make us mad and we don't cuss them out, but your husband make you mad and you cuss him out. How's that work? Wow. Your coworker get on your nerves and you don't hit her. Your wife didn't make the chicken hard enough and you slapped her. How does that work?
The chicken wasn't done.
How does that work? So these are things that we have to really look at and consider, because it's not okay for us to provide a short service to our mate and expect them to understand in the name of love. Mm-hmm. They know me, so they should know me better than that. I know you enough. And if we be honest, many of us in our relationships have been irritated and frustrated because we've sat on the side and watched you be gentle and nice and kind and long suffering and patient and loving to people, and you wouldn't be that to us as your mate. And that's not cool. There have been many of wives who've watched their husband be this great gentleman, this great listener, this great everything, and then when it comes to them, they ain't got nothing. So we gotta do better with that, y'all. And if we're gonna deal with our emotions, we have to deal with the fact that Emotions are temporary. They're temporary. Situations change. You ever been mad about something and in a little while you ain't mad about it no more? One, either because it wasn't that important that it was going to stay that long, or two, you recognize that you could not control it, so you changed your perspective about it because you recognize you could not control it. And sometimes that's really what it stems to, control. Sometimes we lash out in our emotions with our mate because we can't control them the way we want. We can't get them to respond or to react the way that we want them to respond and react. And that, breeds a whole nother situation. So, I have another, question I would like to put on the table as well, too, that how do we bounce back dealing with the forgiving side of things when your mate has already done damage? And now we're at another place, because sometimes one side of the relationship can move on while the other side is still waiting for closure. And so one has moved on and is just like, everything is great, while the other is like, no, it's not, because we still haven't fixed this yet. So how do we get past that bump in the road where one is ready to run and the other has not started walking yet because I'm not moving until I get an apology?
I think all this comes with time. All
Okay.
of it comes with time. So and time is different for every relationship.
Right.
So I think that will all come in time as your relationship grows and as your communication grows and as you are more free to say, this is how I feel. Before you were just mean and nasty, and now you have changed, but the scars of mean and nasty I still see and feel every day. And you communicate on that area when you can and how you can until you can feel better to move forward. But once you move forward, you have to continue moving forward and not be expecting the past to show back up again.
Right. Good.
Because when you wait with your expectations will help you to fail for sure.
Definitely.
When you're expecting, I know in 2 more months she not gonna be like this,
Right.
and you're waiting to see the old, or you're waiting to see what hurts you again, instead of just continuing to move forward with what has changed, with the change.
Okay. That's good. Very good. So I have a couple of quotes I'm going to share with y'all, and y'all let me know what you think about these quotes. One says, "No matter the situation, never let your emotions overpower your intelligence." Because sometimes, in the moment, what you think is the end of the world really isn't.
That's pretty good.
Here's another one. "Don't do something permanently stupid just because you're temporarily upset."
Yes. I don't know why y'all quiet tonight, but maybe because a lot of us are dealing with this. So maybe we're just listening and soaking it all in and just saying, thank you. This is me. But right. I just will not comment today.
Yeah.
But we want to hear from you, even if it's you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let me see. It was another one.
Well, let me give you an example.
Okay.
Of this intelligence thing. Well, I guess it's intelligence. I don't know. So today, y'all, this is my personal story. I got to give you a personal story. But this is not about a relationship, but this is just about not letting my emotions overpower me. So I got put out of a patient's house today. And the patient then cussed me out and they put me out of their house. Right? They put me out of their house, right? Because I asked them to stop doing one thing. And because there are certain things you cannot do while we're in the house. And I asked them to stop doing one thing. And they was like, what? Kept on doing it. And they was like, you know what? Can you leave? And because you ain't going to come up in my effing house and tell me blah, 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 blah. Not a problem. Listen, I don't have a problem. But right then in that moment, my emotions was like, what are you saying? But that intelligence thing is that I'm here to help you.
Right.
I'm the nurse coming to help you. And if you can't see that I'm here to help you, why am I about to get upset, go through all this, then you done called my boss and said I done flipped your table over or something or slammed your door? No. I did not let my emotions rule me, because that would have been a bad situation.
Right.
So sometimes we just have to be smarter than that and just say, listen, this is the situation. I'm never going to let my emotions outweigh my intelligence, outweigh what. Now, granted, has it happened before? Yes. And today it could have very well happened. But right now I am at peace because I know that I'm here to help you. And whether I'm in your house or not, I'm getting paid.
Right.
And there are so many other people out here that want me to help them. Why am I about to get upset and go through all this, have the police come, and we done spent the whole 2 hours when I could be helping somebody else?
Exactly.
When I could be in somebody else's house who wants to comply with the rules.
Exactly.
So that's one. I get 10 cool points for that today. I'm telling you now. She put me out like Martin and cussed me out and put me out. It's all good. Just said, and I said, have a nice day.
Right.
That was so wonderful.
I said, have a nice day.
You know what? That shows you a professional.
And sometimes being a professional, you be like, I'm not sure. But I said, have a nice day. But right now that we're talking about this, I feel really good about myself, because that is only God and maturity.
Indeed.
Helping me to get through it. Because before I would have called my husband, like, I just told this chick, no, forget it. For what? I'm the professional. I'm here to do my job. You don't want me to do it? Not a problem. No money's leaving out my pocket because I didn't do it.
Right.
I'm going to go ahead on to the next person that wants me to do my job. So I said all that for you to think. Just think about what you're doing when you start getting emotional. When a trigger happens. We all have triggers,
Right.
Back in the day, if somebody called you a B, that was your trigger.
Right.
You like for some of us, it's still a trigger. But in reality, you went to jail, you beat them up, all for what? You still a beat of them.
Right. It didn't change your status.
It did not change nothing. It didn't change anything. They beat up and you still won.
Right.
So just take the emotions out of it and deal with it. Take the emotions out of it. Look at your spouse and understand that this is a teammate.
Right.
This is a teammate.
Yep.
You do not want to fight your teammate.
No.
You want to communicate with them so that you can get better and the team can win.
Yep.
If the Lakers are out on the floor fighting each other, then they looking really crazy.
Yeah.
They looking really crazy. The other team looking at them like, go for what y'all know. We'll wait. No, you want to encourage and communicate and educate your teammate so that you can win.
Exactly. And right now the Lakers.
Oh God.
We're looking for a GM and a head coach, but if anybody wants to apply for the position,
I'll apply for it.
feel free.
I think I can bring him back, baby. I'm gonna bring him back. Yes.
But we gotta, if we don't check our emotions will control us. And if your emotions are controlling you, then you've lost. You've lost the fight, because when it's all said and done, there's some people who are professional agitators, and they know how they're professional agitators. They know how to get you to respond, and when you respond, you end up being the one in trouble.
Yes.
So, you don't allow someone else to take that power that you have, that you possess. You control your response. You can't tell me they made me do it. Not when you're an adult. They didn't make you do it. You chose to do it. That was your response to what they did. Now, they may have done something or said something, but that was your choice. You chose that response. You could have walked away. You could have, gave them the old school 3 o'clock in the parking lot. You had options, but you chose to handle it in that moment, which created more of a situation than it did a remedy. And when it comes to our relationships, she just mentioned about being on the same team. Like we have to remember, like, this is the person I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with. So, me not checking my emotions, like, how much harm is that going to do on the rest of my life? Not just this moment. Not just this moment, and it's because, when we're dealing with trust, when we're dealing with various attributes in our relationship, those things are fragile. And if they're broken, you can put them back together. If your mirror breaks, you can put all of the pieces back together and be able to see, but you're gonna see through some cracks. It's not going to be in its purest state as it originally was. It doesn't mean that you still can't see your reflection. It doesn't mean that you won't still be able to, saying all this stuff. But why wouldn't this be something that you would be able to share as something or someone that you value, that you can keep in context, that this is a person that I love. This is a person that I'm spending the rest of my life with. So I'm not going to react or respond to them any old kind of way. Can't do it.
And for the engaged couples, if you feeling disrespected now, if you are feeling like, no way now, it's not going to change when you say I do. It's not going to, there's going to be no miracle powder or dust that sprinkles down on your relationship and changes the character of one of you. That's going to be work within you all and communication within you all to say that I am going to change, or to say that I cannot no longer do this relationship if this is how we're going to communicate with each other. So that's why y'all are my favorite people. Don't think.
I have a question.
Yes. Your mic has to be on when you have a question.
Don't worry about it. I think I'm loud enough. Let's say that it's on. Okay. CEO said it's on. Maybe I just want. Hello.
Yes.
Is it on? Oh, okay. I just want to say, I can't hear myself, but that you said it's on.
We can hear you.
You can hear me now? Okay. I just want to say, hi, my name is Wilbur Nichols. I'm the producer of the show. Amen. Praise the Lord. I have a question. If the person is now it's on. It's still not on. But okay, Marcus. All right. If the person is fussing you out now, cussing you out, but you just giving everything to that person while you're engaged, do you think it can get better, or most of the time it doesn't?
So, first of all, deal with reality and not potential. The reality is...
You have said that before. That's
the reality is that this is what they're showing you, and this is their reality. Now, you can be naive and say, well, I think it's going to get better. And you go and you marry them in this current state, and it doesn't get any better. Whose fault is that going to be?
Right. So if you always saw them cheating already, then later on they're going to cheat again.
It's not that a person can't change. I'm not saying that they won't change and they won't stop cussing you out or doing whatever it was in the scenario that they were doing.
Right.
But what I'm saying is there needs to be evidence of that in the present, not waiting on that to happen later. You ain't holding your breath waiting on them to change. There should be something that is evident, because in engagement, if we don't pay attention to the things that are in front of us, the facts that are there, then we will go into a marriage with lies in our mind, but facts on the table.
A lie.
And then you'll be upset later, and it'll really be your fault because all the facts were on the table during the engagement. You just was believing the lies in your head. and they never told you, oh, I did this, or I'm going to be this, or I'm going to change this, or I'm going. That was what you wanted them to be.
Yeah.
That was the potential you saw, and that was what you were hoping they would become.
Mm-hmm.
But if you didn't see them making those real things, then no, you got to deal with the reality. You can't live off the potential, because potential is a possibility, and they can change their mind and decide, I don't want to live up to this potential.
True.
So true. That's awesome. I'm not getting married now. Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
That's what you came up with,
Now we need to talk about interpretation.
right? Yeah, because that was something else.
Okay, y'all. Y'all can feel free to call in 1-855-493-6499, or you can type your comment if you're with us on Facebook. You can type your comment, and we will, and hopefully you will help someone, or we will help you, or someone else can help you. Tonight, as we're talking about emotions and why is it so easy to give the emotions to give the respect and to be unemotional to your spouse. I mean, to other people, like at work or other places, and you come home and you do not do that same thing at home. Why is it so easy just to come out of pocket or see black and see red and just lose your mind when you're home, and you don't do that other places? And when do you mature? When is enough enough?
Good.
When is enough enough? When is it not okay for us to just accept, oh that's Cherie, that's just how Cherie do? When is that not okay? When do you look at yourself and change? So I think that's what I'm going to ask everybody to do for this week, to just look at yourself. Just take a look at yourself and the things of your emotions and your character, and see what you can change. Write things down. Just look at yourself. Look at how you treat your spouse. Look at how you respond to your spouse. Look at how you treat others in the same situation. And I'm talking about just basic communication, because nobody should really be in the same situation as your spouse. But I'm talking about basic communication, and see and deal with your character. Deal with yourself. Write down the things that you need to change and how you're going to do it. Because there has to be a plan. There has to be a plan. If it's not a plan, you will fail. Right. So you need to write it down so you can see it, and you can pray on it, and you can begin to ask God to help you to change some things. And what you write down may not be all bad. You know, like I said, my confrontational ways are not, I don't believe are all bad. I think we hear the word confrontational and we get, oh gosh, that's a bad thing. But I believe that God has given that to me for a reason. But I need to know when to use it and how to use it.
Right.
And I need to know that it doesn't always have to end up in yelling or somebody upset or crying or dramatic, but that it can be used properly. So those are the things I'm asking you to do this week. Write it down. If you need to apologize. Right. If you need to say, I'm changing, change. Write yourself notes so that you can remember, hey, when I hear this, I need to take 10 minutes. I need to breathe. I need to do whatever I need to do to get through this before I get off the hook again, or before I go back to my past and act how I used to act. Right. Let's work on becoming new, being new, acting as the new person and not the old.
Right. And one of our biggest areas of failure is we love to look at our intent and not look at our actions. What we intended to say, what we intended to do may be well, but what we said and what we did was not our intentions. And we have to own up to the fact that what my intentions were in my mind is not what I showed you, and that's where I was wrong, and that's why I need to apologize. That's what I need to fix, so that we can grow and we can be better. So we want you to walk away with those
Thank you
things
for
tonight.
tuning in to the Couples Corner with Team Bevins. We're grateful that you stopped by and shared your time with us tonight. We look forward to seeing you again here next week at 9 p.m. And feel free to share this on your page with any of your people who would benefit from this conversation. We're grateful that you shared your time with us. And now we've got to go, but we look forward to connecting with you again here on the Couples Corner with Team Bevins.
Thank y'all for joining us. We'll catch you next week.
Peace.
Peace.